A single overheard conversation turned a struggling waitress into the Mafia's most wanted woman. She was just trying to survive another shift. But when you work at the restaurant where secrets are traded like currency, sometimes you hear things you were never meant to hear. And sometimes, those things destroy everything. This is a story about survival, betrayal, and the impossible choice between doing what's right and staying alive. The fluorescent lights of Dante's Ristorante flickered as Sofia Reyes wiped down table 7 for the third time that evening. Her fingers ached. Her feet screamed. But rent was due in 4 days, and she was still $200 short. Table 12 needs water, Marco barked from behind the bar, not looking up from the glass he was polishing. Sofia grabbed the pitcher and made her way through the dimly lit dining room. Dante's wasn't the kind of place that served families or tourists. It catered to a specific clientele. The kind who wore expensive suits and spoke in low voices. The kind who left generous tips if you remembered to forget everything you heard. She'd been working there for 6 months and had mastered the art of invisibility. Table 12 sat in the corner booth, partially obscured by a decorative screen. Sofia approached quietly, pitcher in hand. 3 men in tailored suits hunched over the table, their voices barely above a whisper. "The shipment arrives Thursday," one of them said. "Pier 47. Midnight." Sofia's hand trembled slightly as she poured the water. She kept her eyes down, her face blank. "Mocchetti's crew will handle the transfer," another voice continued. "Once the judge signs the warrant dismissal, we are clear." The third man laughed. "Judge Patterson's been on our payroll for 3 years. He's not going to suddenly grow a conscience." Sofia finished pouring and turned to leave, but her hip bumped the edge of the table. Water sloshed from one of the glasses onto the white tablecloth. All 3 men stopped talking. "I'm so sorry," Sofia stammered, grabbing napkins from her apron. "Let me." "It's fine." The man in the center spoke with the kind of calm that made her skin crawl. He was older than the others, maybe 50, with silver hair and eyes like black ice. "Just go." Sofia recognized him. Everyone in the restaurant knew who he was, even if they pretended not to. Vincent Calabrese, the owner of Dante's. The man whose name appeared in newspapers with words like alleged and suspected always carefully placed before crime boss. She hurried away, her heart hammering against her ribs. Back in the kitchen, she leaned against the stainless steel counter, trying to steady her breathing. She shouldn't have heard that. Pier 47. Thursday. Midnight. A judge on someone's payroll. "You good?" asked Rosa, one of the other waitresses, as she passed by with a tray of pasta. "Yeah," Sofia lied. "Just tired." She pushed the conversation from her mind. She had to. In this job, survival meant selective deafness. Besides, she had her own problems. Her mother's medical bills were piling up. Her car was making a noise that probably meant another expensive repair. She couldn't afford to care about what powerful men discussed in dark corners. But as she returned to the dining room, she caught Vincent Calabrese's eyes on her. He was watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. And Sofia felt something cold settle in the pit of her stomach. She had a terrible feeling that invisibility wasn't going to protect her anymore. Sofia didn't sleep that night. She lay in her cramped studio apartment, staring at the water-stained ceiling, replaying the conversation over and over. Pier 47. Thursday. Midnight. Judge Patterson. She told herself it meant nothing to her. Whatever those men were planning, it wasn't her business. She was just a waitress who happened to overhear something she shouldn't have. But her hands still shook when she poured her morning coffee. The next evening, Sofia arrived at Dante's 15 minutes early. She needed this job. Needed the tips. Needed the predictable rhythm of work to drown out the noise in her head. Marco greeted her with his usual grunt. "You're on sections 2 and 3 tonight. And Calabrese requested you specifically for his private party in the back room." Sofia's blood turned to ice. "What?" "You heard me." Marco's expression was unreadable. 8 o'clock. Don't be late. And Sofia. He leaned closer, his voice dropping. "Whatever you hear back there, you didn't hear it. Understand?" She nodded, unable to form words. The hours crawled by. Sofia moved through her section like a ghost, taking orders, delivering food, collecting payments. But her mind was elsewhere, trapped in a loop of terrible possibilities. Why would Vincent Calabrese request her specifically? At 7:55, Marco gestured toward the hallway leading to the private dining room. Go. The back room was smaller than the main dining area, intimate and windowless. A single round table dominated the space, set for 6. Vincent Calabrese sat at the head, flanked by the same 2 men from the night before. 3 other men Sophia didn't recognize filled the remaining seats. Ah, Sophia. Vincent's voice was smooth as silk. Thank you for joining us. Of course, Mr. Calabrese. She kept her voice steady, professional. Can I start you with drinks? Wine. The Barolo. He gestured to the empty chair beside him. But first, sit. Sophia's heart stopped. I'm sorry. Sit down. It wasn't a request. She lowered herself into the chair, acutely aware of 6 pairs of eyes on her. The room suddenly felt airless. Vincent poured wine into a glass and slid it across to her. You've been working here for 6 months. You're a good employee. Quiet. Efficient. You understand discretion. Yes, sir. Last night, you served our table. You heard things. He took a sip of his wine, watching her over the rim of the glass. I need to know if that's going to be a problem. Sophia's mouth went dry. I don't know what you mean. I was just. Don't insult my intelligence. His voice hardened just enough to send a chill down her spine. You heard us discussing business. Business that could be misunderstood by the wrong people. One of the other men leaned forward. We need to know we can trust you, sweetheart. You can. The words tumbled out. I didn't hear anything. I mean, I wasn't listening. I just serve food and... Vincent raised a hand, silencing her. Your mother is sick. Cancer, correct? Stage 3. Sophia's breath caught. How did he know that? Medical bills are expensive, Vincent continued. Even with insurance, the costs can be devastating. I imagine you're struggling to keep up. She said nothing. Her throat had closed completely. Vincent reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope. He placed it on the table between them. $15,000. Cash. Enough to cover your mother's treatments for the next 6 months. Maybe longer if you're careful. Sophia stared at the envelope like it was a coiled snake. All I need is your continued discretion, Vincent said. You forget what you heard. You work your shifts. You live your life. And your mother gets the care she needs. The room spun. $15,000. Her mother could get the treatment the insurance company kept denying. The experimental drug her oncologist mentioned. A real chance. But this was blood money. She knew it without being told. Sophia's voice cracked. I can't. Vincent's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Respect? Surprise? Disappointment? Think carefully, he said softly. This is a generous offer. One I don't make twice. I appreciate it, but... Your mother has maybe 8 months without proper treatment, one of the other men interrupted. You really want to throw that away over some conversation you accidentally overheard. Sophia stood on shaking legs. I just want to do my job, Mr. Calabrese. I don't want any trouble. I won't say anything to anyone. I promise. Vincent studied her for a long moment. Then he picked up the envelope and tucked it back into his jacket. Very well. You may go. Sophia hurried from the room, her heart racing. She made it to the employee bathroom before her legs gave out. She sat on the closed toilet lid, trying to breathe. She'd just refused the Mafia, and she had no idea if she'd made the right choice or signed her own death warrant. Sophia made it through the rest of her shift by pure autopilot. She smiled at customers she didn't see, served dishes she didn't remember carrying, and collected tips with numb fingers. Vincent Calabrese left without looking at her again. When she finally clocked out at midnight, Marco stopped her at the door. You did good tonight, he said quietly. Smart girl. Sophia didn't feel smart. She felt like she was drowning. She drove home through empty streets, checking her rearview mirror every few seconds. Every pair of headlights behind her felt like a threat. Every shadow looked like someone waiting. Her apartment had never felt less safe. She triple-locked the door, wedged a chair under the handle, and sat on her couch in the dark, still wearing her uniform. Sleep was impossible. Every creak of the building made her jump. Every passing car made her freeze. At 3 in the morning, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She stared at the screen, terrified to answer, more terrified not to. Hello. Heavy breathing on the other end. Then a click. Dial tone. Sophia threw the phone across the room. Morning came too fast and too slow. She called in sick to Dante's, her first absence in 6 months. Marco didn't sound surprised. She spent the day in her apartment, curtains drawn, trying to convince herself she was overreacting. Vincent had accepted her refusal. Everything would be fine. She just needed to keep her head down and forget everything she'd heard. Pier 47. Thursday. Midnight. Tomorrow night. At 4 in the afternoon, someone knocked on her door. Sophia's entire body went rigid. She crept to the peephole and looked through. 2 people stood in the hallway. A man and a woman, both in dark suits. The woman held up a badge. Sophia Reyes? FBI. We need to talk. Sophia's knees nearly buckled. This couldn't be happening. This couldn't be real. We know you're in there, Ms. Reyes, the man called. We are not here to arrest you. We just want to talk. It's about Vincent Calabrese. With shaking hands, Sophia opened the door but kept the chain on. I don't know anything. The woman, late 30s, sharp eyes, dark hair pulled back, offered a tight smile. I'm Special Agent Rebecca Chen. This is Agent Michael Torres. May we come in? Do I have a choice? You always have a choice, Chen said. But we are on your side, and we need your help. Please. Sophia unhooked the chain. The agents entered her small apartment, their eyes sweeping the space with professional efficiency. Torres moved to the window, glancing outside. Chen sat on the edge of Sophia's second-hand couch. How did you find me? Sophia asked. We've had Dante's under surveillance for 8 months, Chen said. We know you work there. We know about your mother's illness. And we know you were called into a private meeting with Calabrese last night. Sophia's stomach dropped. You've been watching me. We've been watching everyone connected to Calabrese's operation, Torres said from the window. But you're the first server he's ever personally requested for a private meeting. That got our attention. Chen leaned forward. What did he want, Sophia? I can't. Sophia's voice broke. I can't talk about this. You're afraid. I understand. Chen's voice softened. But Vincent Calabrese is one of the most dangerous men on the East Coast. He runs drugs, guns, extortion rings. He's connected to at least 12 murders we can prove, probably dozens more we can't. And he owns half the city, including judges, cops, and politicians. Then why are you bothering me? Sophia demanded. I'm nobody. You're someone who heard something, Torres said. 2 nights ago, you served table 12. You heard Calabrese and his associates discussing something. We need to know what. Sophia shook her head violently. No, I didn't hear anything. Sophia, listen to me. Chen's voice turned urgent. We've been building a case against Calabrese for 3 years. We are close. So close. But he's careful. He insulates himself. We need someone on the inside. Someone he trusts. Or someone he thinks he controls. I'm not a spy. We are not asking you to be, Torres said. We are asking you to tell us what you heard. That's all. Sophia stood, wrapping her arms around herself. And then what? You arrest him? He finds out I talked, and I'm dead. My mother's dead. Everyone I know is dead. We can protect you, Chen said. Can you? Sophia's voice rose. Can you really? Because from what you just told me, Calabrese owns half the police force. Not the FBI, Torres said firmly. We are clean. Our team is solid. You tell us what you know, we verify it, and we move fast. Calabrese won't have time to retaliate. Chen stood and approached Sophia carefully, like she was a spooked animal. I know you're scared. I know this feels impossible. But if you do nothing, Calabrese walks free. Whatever he's planning happens. People die. And you have to live with that. People die if I talk too, Sophia whispered. Not if you help us stop him first. The room fell silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of traffic. Sophia thought of her mother, fighting cancer in a hospital bed. She thought of the $15,000 she'd refused. She thought of Vincent Calabresi's black eyes watching her. If I tell you, she said slowly, there's no going back, is there? Chen shook her head. No, there isn't. Sophia closed her eyes. Pier 47. Thursday night. Midnight. There's a shipment coming in. And Judge Patterson is involved. He's going to dismiss some kind of warrant. She opened her eyes to find both agents staring at her with intense focus. You're sure? Torres asked. Pier 47, tomorrow at midnight. That's what they said. Chen and Torres exchanged a look that Sophia couldn't decipher. Okay, Chen said. Okay, this is good. This is very good. What happens now? Sophia asked. Chen's expression turned serious. Now, you go back to work tomorrow like nothing happened. You act normal. And you let us handle the rest. And if Calabresi suspects something? He won't, as long as you stay calm. But as Sophia watched the agents leave, she knew the truth. Calm was no longer an option. She'd just betrayed the Mafia. Thursday arrived like a death sentence. Sophia stood in front of her bathroom mirror, trying to make her reflection look normal. Her hands trembled as she applied mascara. She'd barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Vincent Calabresi's face, heard Agent Chen's voice, felt the weight of what she'd done. She was an informant now. The word tasted like poison. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Stay strong. We are watching. Chen. The thought of FBI agents monitoring her every move should have been comforting. Instead, it made her feel like a puppet with too many people pulling strings. The drive to Dante's felt surreal. This was just another Thursday shift. She'd served hundreds of them. But tonight, while she was refilling water glasses and clearing plates, federal agents would be raiding Pier 47. Because of her. She parked behind the restaurant and sat in her car for a full 5 minutes, trying to breathe. You can do this, she whispered to herself. Just act normal. The kitchen was chaos as usual. Rosa waved her over immediately. Thank God you're here. We are slammed, and Denise called out sick. You're covering sections 1 through 4. All 4. Sophia's voice came out higher than intended. Tips will be good, Rosa said with a shrug. Silver lining. Sophia tied her apron and grabbed her order pad. Normal. She had to be normal. The dining room was packed. Businessmen. Couples. A few faces she recognized as Calabresi associates. She moved through the crowd mechanically, taking orders, delivering food, smiling on command. At 7:30, Marco appeared at her elbow. Table 9 needs attention. VIP. Sophia's heart lurched. Table 9 was in the back corner. Vincent Calabresi's usual spot. She approached with a pitcher of water and her brightest fake smile. Vincent sat alone, reading a newspaper, a glass of scotch already in front of him. Good evening, Mr. Calabresi. Can I get you? Sit down, Sophia. Not again. Please, not again. I'm working, sir. I have other tables. Sit. His voice was steel wrapped in velvet. Sophia lowered herself into the chair across from him, acutely aware of the weight of her phone in her apron pocket. Was Chen listening somehow? Watching? Vincent folded his newspaper precisely, creasing each edge. You look tired. Just busy. He studied her face like he was reading a book. I've been thinking about our conversation the other night. About loyalty. About trust. Sophia's throat constricted. Sir, I promise, I haven't. I believe you, he interrupted. You're not a stupid woman, Sophia. You understand consequences. You understand that some things, once spoken, can't be unspoken. Yes. Good. He took a sip of his scotch. Because I'm going to tell you something, and I need you to understand how serious this is. There are people who would like to see me fail. People in positions of power who think they are untouchable. They use informants. They plant listening devices. They turn good people into traitors. Sophia felt sweat beading at her hairline. He knew. Oh God, he knew. But I can always tell when someone's betrayed me, Vincent continued. Do you know how? She shook her head, not trusting her voice. Because traitors always give themselves away. A look. A hesitation. Fear in their eyes where there wasn't fear before. He leaned forward. You're not a traitor, are you, Sophia? No, she managed. Never. Vincent smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I hope not. For your sake. For your mother's sake. The implied threat hung in the air like smoke. You can go, he said, returning to his newspaper. Sophia stood on legs that barely supported her weight. She made it to the kitchen before the shaking started. You okay? Rosa asked, balancing 3 plates of pasta. Bathroom, Sophia choked out. She locked herself in a stall and pulled out her phone with trembling fingers. She texted Chen. He suspects something. The reply came instantly. Stay calm. Stick to the plan. We move at midnight. Midnight. 4.5 more hours. Sophia splashed cold water on her face and returned to the floor. She moved through the rest of her shift in a fog, hyper-aware of every glance from Vincent's table. He stayed for 2 hours, nursing his scotch, occasionally taking phone calls. At 10 o'clock, he left. He stopped at the hostess stand, spoke briefly to Marco, and walked out without looking at Sophia. She exhaled for what felt like the first time in hours. By 11, the restaurant began to empty. The kitchen started breaking down. Rosa had already clocked out. Sophia wiped down her last table, counting her tips mechanically. $342. The best Thursday she'd had in months. Blood money, she thought bitterly. Marco approached as she was rolling silverware. You can head out. I'll close up. You sure? Yeah. You look dead on your feet. He paused. Sophia, everything okay with you and Mr. Calabrese? Fine, she lied. Why? No reason. Just seemed tense earlier. Marco's eyes were unreadable. Be careful. Okay. The warning in his voice made her skin crawl. Sophia grabbed her purse and headed for the parking lot. The night air was cold, sharp against her flushed skin. She fumbled for her car keys. That's when she noticed the black sedan parked 3 spaces from her car. 2 silhouettes in the front seat. FBI surveillance? Or Calabrese's men? Her phone buzzed. Chen, operation is a go. Stay home. Stay safe. We'll contact you when it's done. Sophia got into her car and locked the doors. Her hand shook so badly she could barely get the key in the ignition. As she pulled out of the parking lot, the black sedan's headlights flicked on. It followed her onto the main road. Sophia's heart hammered. She took a random right turn. The sedan followed. She took another turn. Still following. She grabbed her phone and called Chen's number. They're following me, Sophia gasped when the agent answered. Black sedan. I don't know if it's yours or... That's us, Chen said. You're safe. We've got eyes on you until this is over. When will it be over? 37 minutes. The team is in position. Once we make the arrests, Calabrese's organization falls apart. You'll be safe. Sophia wanted to believe her, but as midnight approached, she couldn't shake the feeling that nothing about this night would go according to plan. Sophia sat in her apartment, lights off, curtains drawn, staring at her phone. 12:03 a.m. The raid should be happening right now. FBI agents swarming Pier 47. Calabrese's men in handcuffs. Evidence seized. The beginning of the end. She imagined it playing out like a movie. Tactical teams. Shouted commands. Justice served. Her phone stayed silent. At 12:47 a.m., it finally rang. Agent Chen. It's done, Chen said, but her voice sounded wrong. Flat. Strained. Did you get them? Sophia asked. Did you arrest? We need to meet. Now. There's a diner on Route 9, Sullivan's. Get there as fast as you can. What happened? Not over the phone. 20 minutes. Chen hung up. Sophia's stomach twisted into knots. Something had gone wrong. She could hear it in Chen's voice. She grabbed her keys with shaking hands and headed for the door. The black sedan was still parked across the street. As she got into her car, it pulled out and followed at a distance. The drive to Sullivan's Diner took 18 minutes. The parking lot was nearly empty, just a few long-haul truckers and insomniacs seeking coffee and pie. The FBI sedan pulled in behind her. Chen and Torres were already inside, sitting in a booth at the back. Chen's usually immaculate appearance was disheveled. Torres looked like he'd aged 10 years. Sophia slid into the booth across from them. What happened? Chen rubbed her eyes. The pier was empty. What? No shipment. No crew. No one. We had eyes on every entrance. We had Coast Guard blocking the water approach. We had enough firepower to take down a small army. Chen's voice cracked slightly. And we got nothing. It was a setup, Sophia. They knew we were coming. The blood drained from Sophia's face. That's impossible. I didn't tell anyone except you. We know, Torres said quietly. We swept your apartment, your car, your phone. No bugs. No tracking devices. You didn't leak anything. Then how? There's a mole, Chen said. Someone in our organization told Calabrese we were coming. Had to be. The timeline fits perfectly. You gave us the intel yesterday. By this morning, Calabrese knew. He fed us false information and watched us walk into an empty trap. Sophia felt the room spinning. So Calabrese knows I talked. We don't know that for certain, Torres said, but his eyes said otherwise. Of course he knows. Sophia's voice rose. Several truckers glanced over. She lowered it to a harsh whisper. Why else would he set a trap? He suspected me yesterday. He practically told me he knew. And now, she couldn't finish the sentence. Chen leaned forward. Listen to me. We can still protect you. Witness protection. New identity. New city. We can have you relocated by tomorrow night. What about my mother? She's in hospice care. She can't just disappear. We'll make arrangements. She has stage 3 cancer. Sophia slammed her hand on the table. She's dying. You want me to abandon her in her final months? Hide in some random city while she dies alone? The agent said nothing. Sophia laughed bitterly. This is insane. Yesterday I was a waitress. Today I'm a dead woman. You're not dead yet, Chen said. And we won't let you become one. But you need to disappear. Tonight. What about Calabrese? What about the investigation? Torres and Chen exchanged a glance. We are shutting it down, Torres admitted. Temporary suspension until we identify the leak. We can't risk more compromised operations. So he wins. Sophia's voice was hollow. Calabrese keeps running his empire. Keeps buying judges and killing people. And I lose everything for nothing. It's not nothing, Chen said. You tried to do the right thing. The right thing. Sophia stood up. The right thing is getting me killed. The right thing is destroying my life. Maybe I should have just taken his money and kept my mouth shut. Sophia. I need air. She walked out of the diner into the cold night. She leaned against her car, breathing hard, trying not to scream. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Against every instinct, she answered. Hello, Sophia. Vincent Calabrese's voice was as smooth as ever. Her blood turned to ice. How did you get this number? I get every number I want. It's one of the perks. He sounded almost amused. I imagine you've had an interesting evening. The FBI must be very disappointed. I don't know what you're talking about. Please. We are past that now. His tone hardened. You betrayed me, Sophia. You went to the federal government. You told them about Pier 47. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? Sophia's knees buckled. She slid down the side of her car until she was sitting on the cold pavement. Here's what's going to happen, Vincent continued. The FBI is going to offer you witness protection. They're going to promise to keep you safe. You're going to refuse. Why would I? Because your mother is currently in room 304 at St. Catherine's Hospice Center. She's sleeping peacefully. Morphine drip running. Nurse checking on her every 2 hours. It would be very easy for something to go wrong. A medication error. A pillow held too long. These things happen in hospice care. Tears streamed down Sophia's face. Don't. Please don't. I don't want to, Vincent said, and he almost sounded sincere. I liked you, Sophia. You're brave. Principled. In another life, you'd have made a good soldier. But you made a choice. Now I'm offering you a way to fix it. How? Come back to work. Act normal. And when the time is right, you're going to help me identify which FBI agent betrayed their own people. Because yes, Sophia, there is a mole. And I want to know who it is. Sophia's mind reeled. You want me to spy on the FBI? I want you to save your mother's life. Everything else is just details. He paused. You have until tomorrow night to decide. Make the smart choice this time. The line went dead. Sophia sat on the ground, shaking uncontrollably. Behind her, the diner door opened. Chen and Torres approached. Sophia. Chen crouched beside her. What happened? Who was that? Sophia looked up at the agent with tears in her eyes. She had two options. Trust the FBI who'd already failed her once, who had a traitor in their ranks, who wanted her to abandon her dying mother. Or play along with a monster to buy her mother a few more months of life. Nobody, Sophia whispered. Wrong number. Chen studied her face, clearly not believing her. But Sophia had just learned something crucial. In a war between the FBI and the Mafia, the person who died first was always the one caught in the middle. And she was determined not to be that person, even if it meant becoming something she'd never imagined she could be. Sophia didn't sleep. She sat on her couch until dawn, staring at nothing, her mind running through impossible scenarios. Every option led to death. Her own. Her mother's. Maybe both. At 7 a.m., she called St. Catherine's Hospice. Her hand shook as she waited for the nurse to check on her mother. She's resting comfortably, the nurse said. Had a good night. No complications. Sophia exhaled. Thank you. I'll visit this afternoon. She hung up and immediately dialed Chen's number. I'm not going into witness protection, Sophia said before the agent could speak. Sophia, listen. No. You listen. My mother is dying. I have maybe 3 months left with her. I'm not spending them in hiding. Her voice was steady now, rehearsed. Calabrese doesn't know for sure that I talked. If he did, I'd already be dead. He's testing me, watching me. If I disappear, that confirms everything. Silence on the other end. So here's what I'm going to do, Sophia continued. I'm going back to work. I'm going to act normal. And if I hear anything else, I'll contact you. But I'm not running. That's suicide, Chen said flatly. Maybe, but it's my choice. Another long pause. If you're staying, then you need to be smart. No phone calls unless absolutely necessary. No patterns. Assume you're always being watched. I already am. And Sophia. Chen's voice softened. If things go bad, if you feel threatened, you call me immediately. We can extract you in under 10 minutes. Okay. But Sophia knew she was lying. To Chen. To herself. She showed up for her shift at Dante's that evening expecting to be turned away. Or worse. Instead, Marco greeted her with his usual grunt and pointed to her section. Everything was normal. Terrifyingly normal. She served tables. Refilled drinks. Collected tips. Vincent Calabrese didn't show up. Neither did any of his usual associates. The restaurant operated like any other upscale Italian place in the city. It felt like standing in the eye of a hurricane. 3 days passed. Then 5. Then a week. Sophia visited her mother every afternoon, sitting by her bedside, reading aloud from romance novels her mother loved. She watched every nurse who entered the room, checked every medication, looked for threats in every shadow. But nothing happened. On the 8th day, Marco stopped her as she clocked in. Mr. Calabrese wants to see you. His office. Now. Sophia's heart stopped. His office. Upstairs. You know where. She'd never been upstairs. Nobody had except senior staff and Calabrese's inner circle. The office was accessed through a locked door next to the kitchen, up a narrow staircase that looked like it belonged in a different century. Sophia climbed the steps on trembling legs. The office was surprisingly modest. Dark wood desk, leather chairs, windows overlooking the street. Vincent sat behind the desk, reading glasses perched on his nose, reviewing documents. "Close the door," he said without looking up. She did. "Sit." She Saturday. Vincent removed his glasses and studied her. "You look tired." "I haven't been sleeping well." Guilty conscience. Sick mother. A thin smile. "The FBI hasn't contacted you again." Sophia had prepared for this question. Agent Chen called once. Asked if I'd changed my mind about witness protection. I told her no. And nothing. I haven't heard from her since. Vincent leaned back in his chair. "Do you know why you're still alive, Sophia?" "No. Because I believe in second chances. And because I think you understand now what a mistake you made." He opened a drawer and pulled out a manila envelope. "Your mother's medical bills for the past month. $32,000. The insurance company denied coverage for the experimental treatment her oncologist recommended." Sophia's throat tightened. "How do you?" "I know everything." He slid the envelope across the desk. Inside is a cashier's check. $50,000. Made out to St. Catherine's Hospice Center. It will cover all current bills and 3 months of the experimental treatment. Sophia stared at the envelope like it was a bomb. "This isn't a bribe," Vincent said. "It's an investment. In you. In your loyalty. You made a mistake. This is your chance to correct it." "What do you want from me?" "Information. The FBI has a leak. Someone in their organization has been feeding me intelligence for 18 months. I don't know who. I need to know who. Because if they can betray the FBI for money, they can betray me the same way." Sophia's mind raced. "How am I supposed to find that out?" "Agent Chen trusts you. She'll keep trying to use you as an asset. When she does, you ask questions. You listen. You pay attention to how information flows. And you report back to me. You want me to spy on the FBI. I want you to save your mother's life." Vincent's voice was ice. "The check is yours regardless of what you decide. Consider it a gift. But if you want to keep your mother safe, if you want to keep yourself safe, you'll do what I'm asking." Sophia picked up the envelope with shaking hands. $50,000. Her mother could have real treatment. Real hope. A few more months. Maybe even a year. All she had to do was betray the people who'd asked her to betray Calabrese in the first place. "There's something else you should know," Vincent said. "The shipment that didn't arrive at Pier 47? It was real. $15 million in heroin. I moved it based on the FBI's leaked information. Saved the entire operation. That leak is valuable to me. But I need to know if it's reliable long-term or if it's a trap. What if I can't find out who it is? Then you're useless to me. And useless people are liabilities." He smiled, but it held no warmth. "I don't keep liabilities around, Sophia." She stood on unsteady legs. "I should get back to work." "One more thing." Vincent's voice stopped her at the door. "Your mother seems comfortable at St. Catherine's. The staff there is very attentive. It would be a shame if anything disrupted that care." The threat was crystal clear. Sophia descended the stairs and returned to the dining room. She moved through her shift mechanically, the envelope burning like fire in her apron pocket. At midnight, she sat in her car in the parking lot and opened it. The check was real. $50,000. Her phone buzzed. "Chen, need to meet. Same diner. 1 hour." Sophia stared at the message. She had a choice to make. Go to the meeting and try to navigate both sides of this nightmare. Or disappear right now, abandon everything, and pray she could outrun them both. But her mother was in room 304 at St. Catherine's. Helpless. Dying. Depending on her. Sophia started her car and drove toward Sullivan's diner. She'd survived this long by being invisible. Now she'd have to survive by being the most convincing liar she'd ever been. And somewhere in the back of her mind, a darker thought emerged. What if she could actually do this? Play both sides. Take Calabrese's money. Feed the FBI just enough to keep them interested. Protect her mother. Stay alive. What if the only way to survive was to become exactly what both of them wanted her to be? A traitor. Chen was already waiting when Sophia arrived at Sullivan's diner. This time, Torres wasn't with her. The agent sat alone in the back booth, a cold cup of coffee in front of her, eyes ringed with exhaustion. Sophia slid into the seat across from her, the cashier's check still folded in her jacket pocket like a lead weight. "Where's Torres?" Sophia asked. "Internal affairs interview," Chen said. "Everyone on the task force is being questioned. Looking for the leak." She studied Sophia's face. "You look different." "I haven't slept in a week." "That's not what I mean." Chen leaned forward. "What happened?" Sophia had rehearsed this. She'd spent the entire drive preparing her story. "Calabrese called me into his office today. He knows I talked to you. He didn't say it directly, but he knows." Chen's expression hardened. "Did he threaten you?" "He gave me money." Sophia pulled out the envelope and placed it on the table. $50,000. For my mother's medical bills. Chen opened the envelope, examined the check, and let out a low whistle. "He's buying your silence." "Or my loyalty." Sophia met Chen's eyes. "He wants information about your investigation. About who in the FBI is leaking to him." For a moment, Chen said nothing. Then she laughed, a bitter, exhausted sound. "So he wants you to spy on us while we want you to spy on him. You're caught in the middle of a mirror game." "I know." "Did you take it? The money?" Sophia hesitated. The truth would make her look compromised. A lie would unravel later. "I haven't deposited it yet. But I'm going to. My mother needs treatment the insurance won't cover. This check could give her 6 more months. And in exchange, I'm supposed to find out who the mole is." Chen's eyes sharpened. "What did you tell him?" "Nothing yet. I told him I'd think about it. But Chen, he threatened my mother. He knows where she is. He knows her nurse's schedules. If I don't cooperate," Sophia's voice cracked authentically. She didn't have to fake the fear. "Okay. Okay." Chen rubbed her face. "This is actually good. We can use this." "Use this how?" "If Calabrese thinks you're working for him, he'll trust you. Feed you information. Maybe even bring you deeper into the operation. Meanwhile, you feed everything back to us." Sophia stared at her. "You want me to be a double agent?" "I want to catch Vincent Calabrese. And right now, you're the only person positioned to help us do that." Chen's voice turned urgent. "Think about it, Sophia. He gave you $50,000. That's not hush money. That's recruitment. He sees value in you. Use that. And when he asks me who the mole is, what do I tell him?" Chen was quiet for a long moment. "What if we gave you someone?" "What?" "A name. Someone we feed to Calabrese as the leak. Someone we control. We set up a sting, catch him in the act of retaliating against a federal agent, and we've got him." Sophia's stomach turned. "You want to sacrifice one of your own agents?" "Not a real agent. Someone undercover. Someone who can handle themselves." Chen's eyes gleamed with possibility. "We've been playing defense this whole time. This is our chance to go on offense." "That's insane." "That's police work." Chen reached across the table and grabbed Sophia's hand. "I know this is terrifying. I know you never asked for any of this. But you're already in it. The question is whether you drown or whether you swim." Sophia pulled her hand back. "I need to think." "You don't have time to think. Calabrese is expecting answers. The longer you wait, the more suspicious he gets." Chen's voice softened. "Look, I get it. You want to protect your mother. You want to survive. I'm telling you this is how you do both. You work with us, we bring down Calabrese, and you get to live your life." "What life?" Sophia's laugh was hollow. "Even if Calabrese goes to prison, his organization doesn't disappear. Someone takes over. Someone who knows I helped put their boss away. I'll be looking over my shoulder for the rest of my life. Not if we dismantle the entire operation. That's what this money is for." Chen pulled out her phone and showed Sophia a photograph. "Recognize him." Sophia's blood went cold. The man in the photo was one of the men from table 12 that first night. One of Calabresi's inner circle. Anthony Mocchetti, Chen said. Calabresi's right hand. He runs the drug operations. If we can get to him, we can flip him. Get him to testify against Calabresi. But we need leverage. We need evidence of what they're moving and when. I'm a waitress, not a detective. You're a waitress who hears things, who serves their tables, who can be in the room when they think they're safe. Chen leaned in close. Next time Mocchetti comes to Dante's, you listen. You remember. You tell me everything. And if I get caught? You won't. You're already doing what they expect, serving food, keeping quiet. They won't suspect you're listening because they think you're too scared to do anything. Sophia wanted to argue, wanted to refuse, but she could feel the walls closing in from both sides. Chen's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and her expression changed. I have to go. Internal Affairs moved up my interview. She stood, then paused. Sophia, deposit that check. Get your mother the treatment. Then come back to me with something I can use. We are running out of time. After Chen left, Sophia sat alone in the booth, staring at the check. $50,000 from a mobster. A federal agent asking her to spy. A dying mother who needed her. And a web of lies that was growing more complex by the hour. She pulled out her phone and stared at it for a long time. Then she dialed. Vincent Calabresi answered on the second ring. Have you made your decision? The FBI wants me to keep feeding them information, Sophia said. They want to use me to get to Mocchetti. Interesting. Vincent's voice revealed nothing. And what did you tell them? That I'd think about it. But I wanted you to know. Before I said anything else. A pause. Then, you're smarter than I gave you credit for, Sophia. Come to Dante's tomorrow. 3 p.m. Back office. We'll discuss your future. He hung up. Sophia sat in the diner until the waitress asked her to order something or leave. She ordered coffee she didn't drink and pie she didn't eat. Somewhere between Chen's proposal and Calabresi's summons, Sophia had crossed a line she couldn't uncross. She wasn't a waitress anymore. She wasn't an informant. She wasn't even sure she was still herself. She was a game piece being moved by players who didn't care if she survived or not. And the only way to stay alive was to make sure both sides thought they were winning. At least until she figured out which side she was actually on. If there even was a side worth choosing. Sophia arrived at Dante's at 2:55 p.m. The restaurant was closed for its afternoon break, chairs stacked on tables, floors being mopped by a janitor who didn't look up as she passed. She climbed the stairs to Vincent's office, each step feeling like a walk to the gallows. But when she opened the door, Vincent wasn't alone. Anthony Mocchetti sat in one of the leather chairs, expensive suit perfectly tailored, gold watch glinting in the afternoon light. The man from table 12. The man Chen wanted her to spy on. And next to him, standing with his arms crossed, was Agent Michael Torres. Sophia's world tilted. Torres. FBI Agent Torres. Standing in Vincent Calabresi's office like he belonged there. Come in, Sophia, Vincent said calmly. Close the door. She did, her mind racing through impossible calculations. Torres. The mole. It was Torres. I believe you know Agent Torres, Vincent continued, gesturing to the FBI agent with something like amusement, though perhaps not in this context. Torres didn't meet Sophia's eyes. Surprised. Mocchetti asked, lighting a cigar. Most people are. Feds are supposed to be the good guys, right? Turns out everyone has a price. Sophia's voice came out as a whisper. How long? 18 months, Torres said quietly. Since my daughter needed a kidney transplant and the Bureau's insurance wouldn't cover the experimental procedure. Mr. Calabresi was generous. Generous and smart, Vincent added. An FBI agent on payroll is worth 10 street informants. He's given us advance warning on raids, wiretap locations, witness identities. He's the reason the Pier 47 operation failed. The reason we've stayed 3 steps ahead of every federal investigation. Sophia looked at Torres, really looked at him. The exhaustion she'd mistaken for dedication. The stress she'd thought was the job. He'd been living a double life just like she was being forced to. Why are you telling me this? Sophia asked. Because Agent Chen is getting close, Vincent said. She suspects there's a mole. She's right. And she's determined enough to find him eventually. Which means we need to give her someone else to chase. Sophia's blood ran cold. You want to frame someone. We want to redirect her investigation, Mocchetti corrected. Torres here has identified another agent on Chen's team. Someone with gambling debts. Someone whose bank accounts show irregular deposits. Someone who, with the right evidence planted, will look very guilty. And you want me to help, Sophia said. We want you to confirm it, Vincent replied. Chen trusts you. When you tell her you've discovered who the mole is, when you give her this other agent's name, she'll believe you. She'll focus all her resources on investigating him. And Torres here stays safe. Torres finally met Sophia's eyes. I have a daughter. She's 8 years old. If I go to prison, she loses a father. If Calabrese exposes me, I'm dead. Either way, she grows up alone. So you're willing to destroy another agent's life instead? The agent in question is already dirty, Mocchetti said. Just not for us. He's been skimming from evidence lockups, selling confiscated drugs back on the street through intermediaries. His scum. We are just accelerating his inevitable arrest. Vincent leaned back in his chair. This is how the world works, Sophia. Everyone compromises. Everyone survives however they can. Chen thinks she's fighting for justice, but she's just fighting for her career. Torres is fighting for his daughter. You're fighting for your mother. There's no moral high ground here. Just different kinds of desperation. Sophia's hands trembled. What if I say no? Then your mother receives the wrong medication tonight, Vincent said simply. A tragic but understandable error in a busy hospice ward. And you'll join her shortly after. Because if you're not useful to me, you're a liability. And I don't tolerate liabilities. The room fell silent except for the ticking of an antique clock on the wall. What do I have to do? Sophia heard herself ask. Mocchetti pulled out a folder and slid it across the desk. Inside are bank statements, text message transcripts, and photographs, all pointing to Agent David Reeves as the leak. Tomorrow, you meet with Chen. You tell her you overheard me and Vincent discussing our FBI contact. You give her Reeves's name. You show her this evidence. She'll verify it. The evidence is real, Torres said. Reeves is actually dirty. We are just framing him for crimes he didn't commit along with the ones he did. Chen will find enough legitimate dirt to believe the rest. Sophia opened the folder. Bank statements showing cash deposits totaling over $200,000. Photos of Agent Reeves meeting with known criminals. Text messages discussing payments. It looked damning because it was meant to. And after Chen arrests Reeves. Sophia asked. You continue working at Dante's, Vincent said. You continue being our eyes and ears. And your mother receives the best care money can buy until her final days. Then, when it's over, you disappear. New city. New life. With enough money to start fresh. You're offering me a retirement package. I'm offering you survival. Vincent's voice hardened. You made a choice when you went to the FBI. That choice had consequences. This is your opportunity to minimize those consequences. To save the people you love. To walk away alive. Sophia looked at Torres. Does Chen know you're here? She thinks I'm interviewing witnesses in Brooklyn, Torres said. She trusts me. Just like she trusts you. The weight of it settled over Sophia like a burial shroud. She was about to destroy an FBI agent's life. A corrupt agent, yes, but still. She was about to lie to Chen, the one person who tried to protect her. She was about to become exactly what Vincent Calabrese wanted her to be. A tool. A weapon. A traitor. But her mother was in room 304, fighting cancer with everything she had. And Sophia would burn the world down to give her mother one more day. I'll do it, she whispered. Good. Vincent stood and extended his hand. Welcome to the family, Sophia. She shook his hand, feeling the last piece of who she used to be crumble into dust. Mocchetti walked her to the door. One more thing, he said quietly. Don't get any ideas about warning Chen. Don't think you can play both sides. Torres here will know immediately if you deviate from the plan. And the consequences won't be pretty. Sophia nodded mutely and descended the stairs. She sat in her car for 20 minutes, holding the folder, trying to breathe. Her phone buzzed. Chen, any updates? Need to move on the mole soon. Sophia stared at the message. She could tell Chen everything right now. Expose Torres. Expose the frame job. Do the right thing. And her mother would die screaming. She texted back, I have something. Meet me tomorrow. Same place. 10 a.m. The response came instantly. I'll be there. Sophia drove to St. Catherine's and sat by her mother's bedside. Her mother slept peacefully, morphine keeping the pain at bay. She looked so small, so fragile, so unaware that her daughter had just sold her soul to keep her alive a little longer. I'm sorry, Mama, Sophia whispered, holding her mother's hand. I'm so sorry. But even as she said it, she knew she'd do it again. She'd betray Chen. She'd frame Reeves. She'd become everything she never wanted to be. Because in the end, the only thing that mattered was the person sleeping in this bed. Everything else, justice, integrity, truth, was just luxury she couldn't afford. Tomorrow, she would destroy Agent David Reeves. And the worst part? She wasn't sure she even felt guilty anymore. Sophia didn't sleep that night either. She sat at her kitchen table, the folder open in front of her, staring at Agent David Reeves's face in the surveillance photos. A man she'd never met. A corrupt man, according to Torres and Mochetti, but still a man whose life she was about to destroy. At 9:45 a.m., she drove to Sullivan's Diner, the folder on the passenger seat like a loaded gun. Chen was already there, coffee steaming in front of her. She looked up when Sophia entered, and something like hope flickered across her exhausted features. You have something, Chen said as Sophia sat down. Not a question. A statement. Sophia placed the folder on the table between them. The mole. I know who it is. Chen's hand moved toward the folder but stopped. How did you get this information? Calabrese trusts me now. He thinks I'm working for him. Yesterday, I overheard him and Mochetti talking about their FBI contact. They mentioned a name. Agent David Reeves. Chen's expression shifted through several emotions. Surprise, suspicion, consideration. Reeves is on the task force. Financial crimes specialist. They said he's been feeding them information for over a year. Locations of surveillance operations. Witness identities. Everything. Sophia pushed the folder closer. There's evidence. Bank statements. Photos. Text messages. Chen opened the folder and began reading. Her face grew darker with each page she turned. Minutes passed in silence. Finally, she looked up. Where did you get this? Mochetti left it on the table when he went to the bathroom. I took photos with my phone, printed them this morning. The lie came easily now. Too easily. Chen studied Sophia's face for a long moment. This is solid intelligence. If it's real, we can move on Reeves today. It's real. But if it's a plant, if they're setting us up to go after the wrong person, then the real mole stays hidden. Torres and I get discredited. The investigation collapses. Chen leaned forward. Are you absolutely certain this is legitimate? And there it was. The moment of choice. Sophia looked at Chen, this woman who'd tried to protect her, who'd offered her a way out, who genuinely believed in justice despite everything. She thought of Torres standing in Calabrese's office. The exhaustion in his eyes. A daughter who needed her father. She thought of her mother in room 304, each breath more fragile than the last. She thought of Vincent Calabrese's cold smile and the implicit threat behind every word he spoke. And she thought of herself. Who she'd been 3 weeks ago. Who she was becoming. Who she'd be after this moment. I'm certain, Sophia said. The lie tasted like ashes. Chen closed the folder and stood. I need to make some calls. If this checks out, and I think it will, we'll have Reeves in custody by tonight. Sophia, this is huge. You might have just saved this entire investigation. Sophia nodded, unable to speak. Stay safe, Chen said, already heading for the door. I'll contact you when it's done. And Sophia, thank you for having the courage to do this. After Chen left, Sophia sat alone in the booth, staring at her hands. Courage. That's what Chen had called it. But Sophia knew better. This wasn't courage. It was survival at someone else's expense. It was choosing her mother over an unknown agent. It was selling whatever was left of her soul for a few more weeks of borrowed time. Her phone buzzed. Vincent, well done. Your mother's treatment starts tomorrow. I've already spoken with the hospice director. Another text immediately after, from Torres. Chen took the bait. You're clear. Stay quiet. Stay smart. Sophia drove to St. Catherine's on autopilot. Her mother was awake, looking surprisingly alert. Sophia, honey, her mother said, her voice weak but warm. You look troubled. Just tired, Mama. Her mother reached for Sophia's hand. You've been working so hard, taking care of everything. I don't know what I did to deserve such a good daughter. The words were like knives. The doctor came by this morning, her mother continued. He said they're starting a new treatment tomorrow. Something experimental. I don't know how we are affording it, but... Don't worry about that, Sophia interrupted. Just focus on getting better. Her mother smiled. You've always been my fighter. My strong girl. Whatever you're dealing with, you'll get through it. You always do. Sophia kissed her mother's forehead, fighting back tears. I love you, Mama. I love you too, baby. That evening, Sophia's phone exploded with news alerts. FBI agent arrested in corruption scandal. Federal mole exposed in organized crime investigation. Agent David Reeves taken into custody. Chen called at 9 p.m. It's done. We arrested Reeves 2 hours ago. Found over $300,000 in hidden accounts. Evidence of evidence tampering. He's facing 20 years minimum. She paused. You did good, Sophia. You helped expose a traitor. Yeah, Sophia whispered. A traitor. After hanging up, Sophia poured herself a drink she didn't normally drink and stood at her window, looking out at the city lights. Agent David Reeves was in federal custody, his life destroyed. Whether he deserved it or not, Sophia had been the weapon that struck him down. Torres was safe. His daughter would keep her father. Vincent Calabrese would continue running his empire, protected by the very law enforcement meant to stop him. And Sophia's mother would receive treatment that might give her a few more months of life. Everyone got what they wanted. Except Sophia wasn't sure what she'd gotten. Or what she'd lost. Her phone buzzed one final time. Vincent, you've proven yourself valuable. Welcome to the real world. Rest now. Tomorrow, we discuss your future. Sophia deleted the message and set her phone down. Tomorrow, she would go back to Dante's. She would serve tables and smile at customers and pretend to be the person she used to be. But she knew the truth. The waitress who'd accidentally overheard the wrong conversation 3 weeks ago was gone. In her place stood someone harder. Someone who'd made impossible choices and would have to live with them. Someone who'd broken the Mafia boss's code not with betrayal, but with a different kind of loyalty. The kind that chose survival over righteousness, family over justice, and life over integrity. She'd started as a victim caught between two powerful forces. She'd ended as a player in a game she never wanted to join. And the most terrifying part? She wasn't sure she regretted it. Sophia took one last look at the city spread out before her. Millions of lights, millions of people, each one carrying their own secrets and compromises. She'd survived. Her mother would live a little longer. And somewhere in the wreckage of who she used to be, that had to count for something. Even if she could never tell anyone the real price she'd paid. Even if she'd have to carry the weight of what she'd done for the rest of her life. Even if she could never again look in the mirror and recognize the woman looking back. Sophia finished her drink, turned off the lights, and lay down in the darkness. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new compromises, new choices between impossible options. But tonight, her mother was alive. And in the end, maybe that was the only truth that mattered.